And
Ready whenever
we
you
are live.
are. All
Hi,
right.
everybody.
Hi.
Hello. I'm here with my friend Marva Riley. She is an amazing, inspirational author and nurse, and she has really inspired me in healthy eating and living. Well, I was already eating healthy when I met Marva, but she inspired me to up my game in movement and exercise. And guess what? In the process, after I shared her books with my mom started implementing some of what Marva talked about. And she went from an inactive couch potato after the pandemic to getting up and going to the gym at 80 years old. So if you want to start some healthy habits, Marva is here to inspire you. But first, real quick, if you're wondering what this background is, I don't want it to distract you, but the online confidence club for kids is coming soon. But now, let's listen to Marva tell us who she is and what she does.
All right. Oh, Francine, thank you so much for having me this afternoon. It's such a delight to be on this platform to chat with you. It's not an interview, it's a talk. We're just going to share some great tips that will help us to become and remain the healthiest version of ourselves. And who doesn't want to be the healthiest version of
Mhm.
themselves? So my name is Marva Riley, Riley. I've been a registered nurse for a long time, since 1998. Most of those years I worked in critical care, so I cared for the sickest patients. I'm also a holistic health advocate and the author of 4 wonderful health and wellness books. And my greatest passion, deepest passion, is to help everyone to become and remain the healthiest version of themselves in body, mind, and spirit.
And now that I hear your accent, I'm reminded you're from Jamaica, aren't you? How's your family?
I am from Jamaica. I've lived in the US longer than I lived in Jamaica because I've been in the US since 1989. My family's okay since Hurricane Beryl. Actually, I spoke with one of my sisters today and they still don't have electricity, but she has generator and, doing the best. They're resilient, doing the best. They have many deaths and not a whole lot of damage to houses, but the power is down. And with the power being down, the technology is down, the phones are down, that kind of thing. But they're good. They're good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
all my
They're
friends
good.
in Florida know how that goes.
I actually lived in South Florida. I lived in Fort Lauderdale. We lived in Fort Lauderdale and moved to Georgia 7 years ago. So we've weathered a number of hurricanes in South Florida. So I'm well aware of that. And before that, Jamaica. And then Jamaica has also been having some um earthquakes recently as
Oh,
well.
really?
So
Oh, I did
yeah,
not.
they're on the crater. So yeah, that's not unusual either. Yeah.
So, why don't you tell us why you quit nursing and went into writing books?
Actually not quit nursing per se. Okay. My husband always says to me, the real definition of a nurse is an educator. And we were also taught that in nursing school, we are educators. That's part of our job as a nurse, whether we work in a hospital setting, a clinic, doctor's office, own our own practice, nurse educators, whatever we do as nurses, we are constantly educating the public, whether they're patients or whomever it is. They're actually many nurses that are nurse educators in colleges, universities, and stuff like that. So I'm not in the clinical setting, but I'm constantly doing research so that I can share the information that I find out with others that they can better their health, as because we're constantly having to work and tweak and work and tweak on our health. So I'm always researching and writing things. So I'm still a nurse. I still have my license. I just don't practice in the clinical setting. Um, but with that out of the way, I was very, very sick. I was 38 when I was diagnosed with a heart disease called cardiomyopathy. And for those who don't know what cardiomyopathy is, in a nutshell, it's the weakening of the muscles of the heart. So the heart can't pump hard, it pumps soft, and the muscles of the heart weaken, and the blood backflows, and you end up getting swelling and shortness of breath and fluids in your lungs, and could potentially go into heart failure. I had an electrical issue wrong with my heart, so I could very well have just died, just have a sudden cardiac death, that kind of thing. And the symptoms I was having was shortness of breath. Shortness of breath. I had no energy. I was shortness of breath. I couldn't focus. I just never felt good. And I was 38 with young children and a husband. And of course, I ignored all those symptoms because nurses and doctors do that nonsense. We take care of our children, the husbands, the dogs, the patients, everybody but ourselves. Eventually, when I went to see the doctor, actually, a medical doctor did not diagnose me. He kept telling me that it was in my head, that I was premenopause and it was in my head. So I saw his nurse practitioner and she said, let me, she called VTAC, where your heart is beating erratically and irregularly all the time. And she referred me to a cardiologist. He had me on drugs, and just checking my internet. He had me on drugs, and the drugs wasn't helping. I mean, it just made me feel worse. All the negative side effects. I had no energy, nothing. And then one of my coworkers said, you should go see an electrophysiologist, a heart specialist who specializes in the electrical issues of your heart, because what the general cardiologist saw was a weakening of my heart. I was functioning at 30 to 35%, and 65% or so is normal. So she said, you should see someone who specializes in the electrical activity of the heart. She was an older nurse, more seasoned. She set it up for me because she knew someone in that field. And when I went, he said, yes, it's muscle issue, not electric issue. Long and short of it is that he did a procedure called a cardiac ablation, where he burnt an area in my heart that was overly excited. And then he said to me on my 2-week checkup, he said, I want you to go home and eat healthily. I want you to get rid of coffee and anything with caffeine. I want you to walk for 30 minutes every day. Decrease your stress level. Practice yoga. Get outside in nature and enjoy living. At that time, I never knew that that was called the holistic lifestyle.
I had the same epiphany in my 50s. Yes. Just living the way that we were meant to live, not getting our food from a factory, but the ground, and actually getting out there and exercising.
Yes.
Just simple things. I mean, it's not hard. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on a gym and buy all of these products that are highly processed that are not really good for you. Just get back to the basics. I like to tell people, if people didn't eat it 100 years ago, don't eat it.
Uh-huh. That's right. That's it. That's exact. And the thing is that folks think that healthy living is difficult. It isn't.
No.
Like you said, Francine, is getting back to eating what Dr. Stabby used to call God food.
Mm-hmm.
If you eat meat, not bacon, not sausage, not hot dog, not just fake vegan this and vegan that. If you're going to eat meat, eat meat. If you're going to eat fish, eat fish. If you're going to eat vegetables, eat vegetables. not the fake stuff that they sell in the store. And it actually is cheaper to eat healthy than unhealthy because
Right.
even though, yes, you can get a dozen donut for $1, for example, you can actually get a whole apple for $1. You can get all kinds of vegetables for $1. I mean, cabbage is cheap, you know? And now, like we spoke about watermelon is expensive. You buy a whole watermelon for $6 and that will last you a while, 4 days or something like that. And also the money we have to spend when we lose our health,
Right.
when you lose your health and when you can't hang out with your friends or when you can't enjoy your family, when you can't breathe and you live in fear. You cannot put a price tag on that. Recently, I saw a little post on Instagram and it says you either pay the farmer now, FARMER, or you pay the PHARMA later on.
Exactly. And it really isn't expensive if you shop wisely. I buy 25 pounds of organic carrots at a time and it's $20, less than $1 a pound. I eat a big
Yes.
bowl of roasted carrots every day because they're so healthy, they taste good, and they're inexpensive.
Yes, and they're loaded with all kinds of great nutrients, you
Right?
know. So it's not it's less expensive to eat healthy. In fact, recently I went to the hardware place and I was talking to one of the guys and I told him I was, vegetarian. And he said, oh, my wife and I were thinking we might need to go vegetarian because the other day we went to the supermarket and I was standing over that piece of beef for about 30 minutes trying to decide whether or not I should buy it because it was so expensive. But beans are loaded with protein and iron and all kinds of other nutrients that beef doesn't have.
And
Okay.
fiber. Fiber.
And fiber, yeah. And guess what? A pack of lentil is $1.69. If you buy it at a place like Walmart, cheaper. A pack of black eyed peas is $2, and that will serve the entire family. And you won't have the American Cancer Society saying to you, don't eat too much lentils or too much black eyed peas.
Exactly.
But they're
Exactly.
afraid about the beef. Okay. So eat real food. It's not complex. And that's what I share in my books. Eating healthily, losing the weight and keeping it off for good is not complex. Every year they tell you in January you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to join the gym. I used to join the gym years ago, but since I came to Georgia, there's no gym close to me. So my gym is my yard. And even if you live in an apartment, your apartment can be your gym. If you live in an apartment building, go up and down the stairs. YouTube has tons of videos to help you to exercise. My husband has been watching a couple of guys on YouTube and doing all kind of calisthenic, and I see his chest, his pecs are looking really nice on the arms. You can get free information on all
Right?
these sites.
Well, not only that, but imagine cleaning your house for exercise.
Yes,
So instead of going to the gym, clean your house. You'll have a beautiful environment to live in, and you get to vacuum and
yes,
mop and
uh-huh,
do all that stuff. When
yeah,
you do your laundry, take
yes,
extra trips between the
yes,
washer and the closet and get your steps in walking back and forth.
that's right. Where there's a will, there's a way. What I find is that folks would make excuses when they haven't made up their mind.
Yes.
But the unfortunate thing, Francine, is that so many people wait until they're, I mean, Mark, I was like that. I had to get the wake up call to say, you're 38. In fact, when I was 38 and diagnosed with cardiomyopathy, my cardiologist told me that if you don't get a heart transplant, you may not live.
Wow. And you never did. You got healthy instead, right?
Oh, he did the procedure, he did the ablation, he gave me the prescription, which was eat healthily, exercise, and all that. And I was so desperate. I took that doctor's orders to heart and I have lived it since then.
Okay, I really need to say this now. Make a change in your life before you're forced to. My
Yes.
major upheaval in my life, my liver was shutting down and I had a full body rash. And it was from all the toxins I was taking in my body. So Marva had her major upheaval in her life. She had a heart condition. Get healthy before you have your major upheaval.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and if you're at that point now, it's not too late because um there are still people that are in a major upheaval, very, very sick. In fact, this morning I was talking to my friend about someone we know whose body is in a crisis, and the person was saying the doctor is very worried, and I'm saying, well, when is he going to decide to change? When?
Right.
And I hear people saying nonsense. I hear the smokers saying it, and I hear other people that are unwilling to give up their habits say, well, something's got to take me out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't really die. You suffer and suffer and suffer and die a slow, painful death.
And your family suffers watching you suffer.
There you go. Because your family suffer because, your mate is their life is disrupted. You can't breathe. So at night you're disrupting them. They have to be taking you to the doctor. You don't feel well and they don't feel well. You can't do the things that you normally do together. So, when you're sick, like Francine said, it doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone.
And let me tell you a funny story. When I started getting healthy and when I got home from work, instead of drinking a glass of wine and sitting on the couch, we took a family walk with the dog. My dog got healthier.
That's right. That's right. Yes. And folks don't know that, don't realize that there are animals that are getting sick because they are eating the unhealthy foods like we are eating, not
Mhm.
me and you, but folks are eating on like to walk or run around. They're not meant to be that way. And our animals are not getting fresh air and sunlight. So they're dying from some current human diseases that humans are dying from, or animals are also dying from those diseases. So when you take a walk in the fresh air, like I see you in nature all the time with your husband and your dog and yourself, the whole family is getting healthy and staying healthy. Folks have babies. That's no excuse. If you have a baby, all the more reason. Take your baby outside in the morning before the sun gets really hot and take them for a walk. It's good for them. Helps them
Well,
to sleep better. The vitamin D will help them to grow better and thrive better, build their immune system. So everybody's getting healthier.
I remember when we were kids, my mom had two. I'm 24 months older than my sister, so she had two really close together, and she
Yeah,
didn't drive. We walked everywhere.
yeah, yeah. That's one of the problems now with there's a physician that I think his name, don't remember his name offhand, Florsheimer or something. Anyway, he was 100 years of age in December. And yesterday I was listening, those reels that you get sometimes because I'm into health, they'll send it to me. And he said, listen, I'm 100 and I'm not dying next year. I'm not dying next year. And he said the secret is exercise. And I remember he was saying in that reel, he said, listen, I had an assistant who was obese. And I told her, I have two things to say to you because I'm a physician. I just have to say something to you. But do you want to hear the good news or the bad news first? And she said, give me the bad news first. And he said, you're obese. You're at risk for dying early, heart disease, blah, 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 blah. And then he said, but the good news is, even though you're obese, if you exercise, you will outlive the thin woman who does not exercise.
Yep.
And I was like, ooh. And he's a guy that I saw some years ago. He had like 30 acres of land in California somewhere, and he used to chop the wood to burn for firelight and for cooking and things like that.
Yeah. And you know what else? My big problem, besides what I was eating and inactivity, was stress. I didn't manage my stress well. Well, just getting up at lunchtime and taking a walk, even if it was just to the end of the block and
Yes.
back,
Yes.
just reduced my stress
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
And that allowed me to feel better, which motivated me to keep moving and keep trying.
Yes.
One simple thing, if you can't do anything but get up off the couch, go
Yes.
outside and walk to the end of the block and
Yes.
back, do that
Yes.
until you start feeling better and then go a little further.
And the first time you do it, you'll feel better because even sometimes, because I have my own business, so I run my business from home. And my business is not the author business because, as Francine might agree, I'm sure she'll agree with me, you don't get rich off
No.
writing books. We write the books that we write because we want to help people.
Right.
Okay. So, but I have we have another business that I run from home. So sometimes I'm here and I feel a little bit low on energy. I put my shoes on or not, because a lot of times I walk in my backyard barefoot.
Oh,
You see
yeah.
me doing that. And I'll go and I'll do 10 laps around my property because I live on an acre of land, and 10 laps in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get back in, I feel like I could move mountain. Exercise is medicine, and the vitamin D and everything else that we get from the sun that we don't even know
Right.
is medicine, and the fresh air is medicine. You go outside, you hear the birds, you see the squirrels scurrying around, medicine. And while you're doing it, you bring the baby with you, bring your animal with you, bring your mate with you, and just take a few laps around. If you're at the office, when I worked at the hospital, I would get 30 minutes for lunch. I would use 15 minutes to eat my lunch. I always brought my lunch from home because when you bring your lunch from home, you know that you're eating healthily. And a quick tip that I want to give is you can actually prepare enough salad, for example, put it in, divide it up, put it in mason jars. Just don't put your salad dressing on, or if you're going to put protein, don't put the protein on yet, like your beans or whatever. And stick your salad in the refrigerator and then grab and go the next day. Okay. So I always packed my lunch and I would have my lunch in that 15 minutes, and the other 15 minutes was walking around the hospital building, around the hospital building. When I got back, I was more clear-minded, more energized, better mood to take better care of my patients as a nurse. So if you're a physician, if you're a therapist, if you're an engineer, whatever it is, if you take that walk during your lunch break, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, when you go back, you'll be better able to function and optimize whatever it is you're doing on your job.
Absolutely. And now I was looking at Marva's video that she posted today, and she gave just a whole list of all the benefits of eating watermelon. I was amazed by all the nutrients you could get out of a watermelon, which is inexpensive, and everybody loves watermelon and it tastes good.
Yes.
I bet you almost everybody watching this had some watermelon for the 4th of July.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
didn't even know how healthy it was. But if you'd like to know more about the healthy watermelon, Marva's going to put the link to her Facebook page in the chat when we get off this call. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments and we will answer any questions you have. And let us know if you want Marva to come back and talk to us again.
Yes. And I'd like to say that you can, our viewers can connect with me on all the major social media platforms. I have a YouTube channel. I saw that you checked it out because you posted one of my videos and I forgot I had put up. Um, I'm on YouTube. So my name is Marva Riley. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I have a Facebook group, and I'm in other Facebook groups like Francine's Facebook group. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm also on TikTok. And I also have a free monthly health and wellness newsletter. that I send out every month. And you can sign up for that. It's free, like I said, on my website, rnmarvariley.com, rnmarvariley.com. And I have a lot of free recipes and tips to help you to succeed on your health journey on my website as well.
Awesome. Everybody, it's July. And I know January is the time everybody goes on diets and says, I'm going to get healthy. Start now. And then you will be healthy in January and you can make a different goal.
Right. Yeah. Today is the day. Tomorrow's not promised to anyone. So
Right?
today is the day. And the thing is that you don't have to jump in head first. You don't have to go in full force 100%. That's the mistake that folks make January 1st. They
Mhm.
say in 1 month I'm gonna lose 30 pounds. It's not, it's unrealistic. And if you do, it's not sustainable. You know what I mean? But you can start making some baby steps now. Like for example, instead of drinking, I see I have Coca-Cola bottle up here. Instead of having Coca-Cola, have water. You know what I mean? That's one simple thing that you can start implementing. A lot of people do drink sugary drinks and they still want to lose weight and they still want to decrease their blood sugar and they still want to feel better. Yeah, the Coca-Cola, like the coffee with 10 packs of sugar, will give you that energy like now, but then you crash afterwards and all the other negative side effects that come with drinking those unhealthy things as opposed to water. One quick thing. I drink a lot of water, but with the watermelon being in season now and it's summer, it's so hot. Sometimes you drink the water, you don't feel fully hydrated. I cut up a big slice of watermelon, add water to it, put it in my bullet blender, blend it together with a slice of ginger and a slice of lemon,
Ooh,
and
that's
sip it, maybe put a few grains of sea salt or something in it. And when you drink it, you feel so hydrated, your body just come alive and you feel energized, as opposed to the
yummy.
coffee. Yeah, because the coffee dehydrates you. It's a diuretic and you pee a lot and you're not putting in enough liquids.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
it was a pleasure having you here today, and I hope we get to do this again. And I am hoping people ask a bunch of questions because I'm interested in learning more. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for having me, my sister. Take care.
Let's end this live. Everybody, bye. All right, the live is ended.